So it takes a lot of our attention, energy to establish this all, to realize, to maintain. So that the samsara, one day it can be, we can see as a nirvana. Until then, so no matter what we do, no matter what we do, just we continue in the vicious cycle of the suffering. So because of when we don't realize the mind itself, which is within us, so we are the responsible, which creates the samsara and the nirvana. So for the benefit of all sentient beings, cultivate this mind of enlightenment. Then on that basis, then we study all this. We are going through this Mahamudra session. Just just to reflect about the loving kindness is also mind, you see. When you like in the family, a mother, she takes the responsible in the house, especially to her children. How much she gives all the resource to the children, to raise the children as the best of all. So like that, as I mentioned yesterday, we expand our mind to all sentient beings as our own mother, as our children. The mother takes care of the children more than the children take care of the mother. So we should understand that, The children, they think this, I deserve all these things. So there some do great, but not many. But mother, without any expectation, means, for herself, just take care of the children. So look at these things. So in this teaching, that practice of the loving kindness is, you see, the source of all the peace, the source of happiness. So look at in your mind, when there's a sense of metta, the loving kindness, that we could reflect the mind to all other sentient beings. That everyone desire for peace and happiness. And I am the one of them from that countless sentient beings. So we all are in one boat, striving for peace and happiness. Whether it's in the samsara or for the enlightenment. No, we want that. So dear, reflect on this and meditate to all the sentient beings. That we wish first, may everyone have all the peace and happiness. Even those individuals who irritate you, transcend this dualistic thought. Nothing but may everybody experience peace and happiness. and that we try to develop within the mind, within ourselves. When that is cultivated in the mind, so that mind is absence of all the hatred, ego, it's pride, everything transformed into that gentleness of the mind. When these negative thoughts are transformed within that state, so in that place, nothing but only peace. See, our whole being, all the state of peace, you see. When that all negative thoughts are transformed into that, so then there's no any expectation. For all these different types of negative things in the mind that were so habituated are purified by this mind. And we meditate on this, reflect on this. And that when we get used to it more and more, then there's courage. There's no fear. See. And that mind itself is nature of emptiness of all negativities. See, that's what's called emptiness, you see. It's how to heal ourselves, our mind. So that's, in the history of the Buddha's life. So one time, the Bodhisattva was born, and then a name of King Champetok, the power of loving kindness, the Bala, the Metta Bala. In that kingdom, one time, they had a pandemic that's spelled by the 5 yakshas. The yakshas are there craving others' life, flesh. So when that country was going through that kind of difficulties, then the king was very concerned about the people in the country. He was looking for a solution to free from that pandemic. So then finally the king realized this is the way to help the people. So the king collected all those ministers from different provinces, head of those different places, and then he instructed to practice the loving kindness step by step. Then all the ministers, the mayors, whatever you call, went to their own places. And the king told us to do these practices. And then everyone engaged in this practice. And then the pandemic disappeared by the power of this, by the blessings of this. So the yakshas now lost the opportunity to take the lives of the individuals. So they are hungry, thirsty. So then they came to they realized that because the king's instructions of the practice of loving kindness, the pandemic disappeared. So they came direct to the king. You are practicing loving kindness, compassion. Now we also, among these individuals, but we are hungry, thirsty. We eat flesh, drink blood. So why not you practice upon us also loving kindness? Give us opportunities. So then king was thinking, now if I take others' life to feed them, then what's the benefit? Because some are making a life by feeding flesh, and then some are killing. We kill somebody for the flesh. So the king was thinking, what should I do? Finally, the king realized how to do things. So the king has such a power of the loving kindness. Now, I'm here for the people, not for me, to help the people, sentient beings in the world. But then king said, you take my flesh. The king has no fear. So then the king cut his own flesh, gave to these 5 yakshas. So these yakshas were so impressed and developed such a strong devotion to the king. You are really helping the people, not on your benefit, but for this people. And we are also here, must follow you, practice these things. Then they said, because you are doing these things for others, you are purifying all obscuration, attachment to yourself. You are accumulating great merit due to these practices. One day you will become Buddha. So this time, not only giving your flesh and blood, and when you achieve Buddhahood, then we pray you will give us wisdom to free from samsara. So the king said, yes, that I dedicate. At this time, I give you my flesh and blood. So when I attain Buddhahood, then I'll give you, I dedicate that I will give you my wisdom so that you will free from samsara. That's how the connection. When Buddha attained the Buddhahood, he turned the first Dharma wheel, giving the four noble truths to the 5 disciples. Those were the disciples, rebirth of those 5 yakshas. See, so we also practice this every morning this way. So in the mind, in the absence of these dualistic afflictions, that mind is the Mahamudra. So when the mental afflictions disappear, then left nothing but Mahamudra, see, which prevents us to realize Mahamudra because of our mental afflictions, delusions. So that's how we practice, meditate. Same way you can practice compassion. This way you can practice bodhicitta, desire to attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, and practicing the 6 parameters, so forth. And that's why Dharma is a mission, so precious. This precious source of our peace and happiness. It's not just a one religion. It's not just a ceremony. We just do, no. But it is a path, a practical path to follow. That practically we purify the cause of suffering. Practically we're enhancing all the excellent qualities of the Buddha. Since we have the Buddha nature, it possessed all the excellence of the Buddha's qualities. But we just need to reveal it, like say, a big tree to grow. The seed is so small. The seed is all small, but it possessed all the potential of that big tree. When we know how to plant the seed on the ground and let it grow, then one day it will become a huge tree, bears all the fruit, so that every potential that small seed has is inconceivable, yet is there. So when you have this understanding, you see in our, you see the 7 lamp prayers we have maybe here. So in smallest dust particle contains whole universe. The whole universe is contained in the smallest dust particle. The dust particle is not bigger. The universe is not smaller, but yet it contains there. So these are inconceivable. So don't feel I'm very weak, poor. We have that potential. So this is the practice, the purpose of the practice of these teachings. In this 21st century, still we have this opportunity to study, practice. We should follow the path. So as mentioned, with unflinching devotion, with unflustered mind, follow the path step by step. And definitely one day we will achieve it. It's just a matter of time. It may take time. That's why Buddha, who took 3 limitless eons to become Buddha, follow the path step by step. And if you have energy, ability, then look at the Milarepa's life in one lifetime. So it's very flexible. If you feel, oh, for me, one lifetime is not possible at all, what should I do? Then look at the Buddha's life story. 3 limitless kalpas, eons, see? So you see, look at that. Then it's three limitless kalpas is too far, I cannot, I cannot wait that long. I want very fast. That take Milarepa's path. You see. Okay, so now we'll read the verse 26, isn't it? 26. Now here's the until you have gained the stability in your own nature of mind. This means until you gain stability, as mentioned, To achieve the stability, you need great shamatha. Very important samadhi. To have the great samadhi, you need the morality. So these three training, is the highway to Buddhahood. Whether Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana, all, no exception. The three training. So first we need such a samadhi, well established. That's what until you have gained the stability in your own nature of mind, contrive meditation such as the 12 yogas and others, however leveled, are in fact the cause of going astray. Sometimes, it's called premature. Premature in your practice, introducing the 4 yogas. Have you heard of your 4 yogas? The one taste, free from elaboration, and one, it's called not one taste. One pointed, first called one pointed. Then the second is called free from elaboration. The third is called the one taste. And the fourth is called non-meditation. All it's called perfection of the meditation. This introducing. So before we're ready or well established, introducing these things are useless. No benefit. Practically, for the intellectual understanding, yes. So you can say this is this. Now our scholars debate, what's this first bhumi? What are the 12 so all the activities of the Bodhisattva? Then there is bhumis increases all these excellent qualities. And then what this 10th bhumi, according to Abhisamaya Alankara, according to the Madhyamika Avatara, just talk about so much those things. Then the debate, this is called entertainment. You can entertain these things, but there's no practical benefit. So it's saying, so first you have to practice yourself. Well established, stabilize the mind in the meditation. So however, the labels are in fact the cause of going astray. Then you're distracted. What basically saying, you're distracted, this, that, there's, then there's some refuted, these are not Buddha's teachings. That's called the history we have. And some great masters who have realized these things, and they tell this, then some scholars, some intellectuals. So this now it looks like it's okay, but not real Buddha's teaching, So it's all distraction, no benefit. So to sustain the original state is to sustain the original state means your mind as it is. Nyuma is Nyuma in Tibetan. Nyuma Chongwa. Sustain is what's called all pervasive emptiness. So that 4 yogas you divided into 3 each becomes 12. The first, second, third, or the beginner, middle, end. So that divided the 4 into 12. This becomes the 12, So these all making divisions, all this without the experience of the practice, it's just intellectual. things. So you see, we have to go practically, step by step, meditate on this. To practice this successfully, always remind impermanence. Always remind the suffering of samsara. Always remind the called inexorable karma and result. Infallible karma and result. That's reality. So these are to support for our successful practice. That's the whole foundation at the beginning. So always until you become Buddha. Plus, they will inspire you, this whole foundation, inspire you, follow the path. In the second, they will support you to progress your practice. Third, they will help you to accomplish your practice. So don't think, after some time, oh, we are Mahamudra practitioner, why we need this for kindergarten, they say, Why we need to reflect on the impermanence. Where in that Mahamudra emptiness, where there's impermanence, In the Mahamudra, there's no virtue and non-virtue, where we talk about the suffering. Sometimes we say that, but that's not the case. Everything would manifest within the Mahamudra. Everything is a reflection of the emptiness. All this, reflection, all this elaborated, all this manifestations, their nature is within the Mahamudra. So there's no separation. It's non-duality. It's infinite. That's the original, they translate as original or emptiness. Then 27. Okay. So now I'm going to say yes. When mind itself is tamed, means is within in the Mahamudra. Now, tamed means no in a wild, confusion. No confusion is left. The root of fixating on self is free. The root of fixation is free because there's nothing to fixate it. It's just self-liberated. Now within the delusion, I am holding myself, I'm so important. If somebody says bad things about me, my heart aches, I'm just sleepless, how should I retaliate? How do we get rid of it? In what way, thinking day and night about it. When you realize Mahamudra, then it's nothing. You're lost in the emptiness. all your confusion, the fixation of the self-grasping, all just lost in the emptiness. It exists nowhere. That's the realization of the emptiness Mahamudra is about. And when you lost nothing, so you know, what happened? There's nothing to hold on. Sometimes there's a scary You're afraid. Oh? Now there's nothing to hold on. What about that? We have to get used to this. Practice this. Meditate on this. Yes, that's the reality nature. I, in the samsara, for a long time grasping something exist, that habit continues. Now here I'm practicing this, I lost it. Lost for good. No. So that's what it's saying here, no? Lost it. But some individuals, some claim that they have realized the nature of the mind, grasping onto the belief that they are Mahasiddha. But I am Mahasiddha, you know. I realized the Mahamudra. They went wrong another direction. That's what I mentioned, sidetrack of the track, you know. See, it's very delicate. So for these steps, we need such a great teacher. That's how teacher is important. Oh, you know, they look at the life story of Kampupa. Even though Kampupa was highly established master, even before meeting Milarepa. But when he met Milarepa, he started practice Milarepa. During the daytime, he received teaching. Nighttime, he practiced. One time he saw the 1,000 Buddha. In the 1,000 Buddha, in the center of Buddha Shakyamuni, he saw. Oh, he was so happy. I saw Buddha, wonderful, you know. He was so excited and went to Milarepa. I saw the 100,000 Buddha, you know. In the center is Buddha Shakyamuni. Milarepa said, answer, it's neither good nor bad. Continue your practice, you know. This is Milarepa said, nothing special. Go ahead, you know. Kampupa went back to his own cave. Even though Lama said neither good nor bad, but still I feel good, you know. Because it's rare, very rare to see Buddha, you know. If we have that, we'll jump from the cliff. See. Then after that again, Kampupa saw the 9 deities to have Vajra. No, the Yidam. And went to see Milarepa. Said, I saw this. He said, let's continue. It's neither good nor bad, you know. But then after some time, after some time, I should say, yes. And Milarepa said, now see, you saw Nirmanakaya. You saw the Sabokakaya. Now, not too long after, you will see the Dhammakaya. You continue your practice, meditation. So how teacher is so important, so good, you know. Otherwise, when you have some good shamatha, good meditation, you know, relax, and you go to teacher, I have this kind of very good samadhi meditation. And teacher will say, oh, you got this special insight, you know. So when there's not good teacher, that can happen. So then Kampupa, after departing from Milarepa, he went to his own place. He continued for 6 years in the meditation. After 6 years, then Kampupa finally realized the Mahamudra. And he realized Milarepa is not just an old man, you know, wearing the ragged cloth, but he saw Milarepa as the Vajradhara. Directly as the Vajradhara. So then Milarepa said, when you see me as the Vajradhara, that's the time you give the teachings to the disciples. That's why Kambupa was so successful in his activities. In the Buddha's, as a Buddha service, the service for sentient beings. Actually, you should look at, if you look at carefully in the history, Kambupa was the one who made such system of the Buddha's teaching in Tibet without contradiction, Vinaya, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Otherwise, at that time, the Vajrayana practitioner, they cannot practice Vinaya. So Vajrayana, you are allowed to this. The Vinaya said not allowed this. They cannot get along. So Kambupa first we became monk. Then he attended Milarepa and practiced all the Vajrayana teachings. Then he established. The day when Kambupa left Milarepa, Milarepa said, now you go. So Kambupa left. So next day, Milarepa gathered all the other disciples. He said, last night I had a dream. A vulture, a big vulture flew from me. And the vulture landed on a big mountain. And that vulture then gathered the yellow geese. So many yellow geese gathered. After some time, each geese they fly in the sky and gathered. At least like each individual gathered 500 more. After some time, whole space becomes full of geese. So he said, I as a yogi, but this Kambupa, he will start all the monastic school and will benefit all sentient beings. So I, as a yogi, I served the Buddha's teaching. So I'm so happy. So Kambupa was that responsible. So after him, all the Tibetan Buddhist school followed Kambupa, without contradiction. Then everybody there become monks, and then they practice all. You see, look at that. See, that's what I'm basically my point. He says the great teacher is so necessary. Then. So the root of, yes, when the mind itself is tamed, the root of fixating on self is freed. And some claim that they have realized the nature of the mind, grasping on truth, the belief means they have not realized practically, but they believe maybe I have achieved. And then they claim, no, they are Mahasiddha. So to be repulsed by that is my heartfelt advice. So Shenro, Tela Shenro. So to this kind of claim, even not being yogi, they claim as a yogi, Master, Mahasiddha. Yes, I'm disgusted about that. It does nothing. No, it does nothing but only create the confusion. We don't need that confusion. We have enough confusion in the samsara. Why we should use Dharma to confuse others? Oh. So now here next said, when you realize your mind, students will gather spontaneously. There's no point wandering through country to town, in ensuing need and little purpose in deceiving beings with the tricky, not to gather a retinue is my heartfelt. Until you are ready, until you are well qualified, so don't gather disciples. It makes a just cult member. You have heard of cult member? Lot a bunch of confusion. They're confused, and then there's a lot of corruption, suffering, so that will happen. Don't just create such kind of confusion. First you establish your, and if they're interested, you share the Dharma, and then you live without stress. See. Said here, Rasim Tona Loma Hangidu, we seem to Sholong, Tamukins, Sholong, this gathering offerings, in the town going around, it's just no benefit. And just tabulo govachons. You are just with the tricky, with the trick, making trick, and then gathering all this wealth and offerings. So to not gather a retinue when you are not ready, is my heartfelt advice. Now these are all the practitioners giving such a pure, important advices, including this one, that what I have read, that one. Having promised to abandon material concerns, first, everything is so impermanent. Everything has no essence. But at the same time, continuing to gather disciples and a retinue with the wealth obtained from others. Engaging in eloquent conversation around the hurt and longing after celebration. Reading some elegant teaching and then deceiving others, cherishing one's ego within, misuse Dharma teachings instead of benefiting. So these are useless, no benefit. Therefore, to abandon these sort of things is my heartfelt advice. So disciples also have to be very careful. Some are very charismatic, people, they come, they give us such elegant teachings, and so we feel, oh, this is so wonderful, so great. And then a bunch of we are confused and create only suffering. Also no benefit. Therefore, we say practice the Dharma very sincerely. Follow the path. Just now, verse 30 here. Chimba chimba, tongshi lembu len, du chung mebe, sunyum, chetolo, deva chungwa, deva mebe, sunyum, chetolo, cheno tabji trochi, sholongchi, imutenda, owa kuyu ningdami. There are some individuals also come around. No? As for the giving, inspectors of generosity giving and receiving of it, to receive the alms offerings without a sense of proportion, or to plunder and pretend to be in need, to abandon such disheartening action is my heartfelt advice. So we need of course offerings. We need sustain Sangha members, especially in the retreat, college, who study, who don't have other support. But also, do we need those to prolong the Buddha's teaching, to sustain those study, to sustain the meditation in the cave? All this will need all the support. But sometimes we misuse the offerings. It's just no benefit. It's not good for the practitioner itself. We need really good support. Those who are sincerely doing things, providing and helping others. Which, as you see, to establish really a good teacher is not easy. It takes a long time. I'm not here, I think other days I mentioned. Right now at Jikungtil, we have one master, Tashiraten. He started his retreat since 1981 or beginning of 82 under the guidance of the Rinpoche. So since then, he continued his retreat all the way. Now, these last few years has been it can become so well known. In 2016, in the Kuntil, they have the every 12 monkey years, the big celebration, So, so that time, that basically that ceremony performed by His Holiness Chungzang Rinpoche and the Tashiraten. The word of mouth went all over Tibet. So about 700,000 people gathered there. So when one has the ability, then people gather. And everyone is so appreciative, realized, so peaceful. Even the government supported all the needs, because so many people gather coming around, they can have anything, So this doctors, nurses, thousands of doctors and nurses are provided. They can have like flu, anything, when there's so many people coming. Securities. So right now, still the shopping here. He's always in a meditative state. still very few, with that kind of practitioners. So like that, those kind of, is saying here. Otherwise, don't confuse, saying now. Focus on your practice. Sincere. Don't let somebody take advantage of you. You follow the path. Straight. Now, verse 31. Regardless of whatever qualities of abandonment and realizations that you may have arisen in your experience. The samadhi, meditative state, wisdom awareness, and then like 6 yogas narupas practices. When you do those practices, a lot of different experiences may manifest. Regardless of whatever qualities, abandonment means purifying all the obscurations. They're called the 3 obscurations, the obscurations of the karma, the obscurations of the mental afflictions, the obscurations of the wisdom, which prevents you to realize total, So these all obscurations need to be purified step by step. Look at in our mind, you see, we don't have clear understanding of the karma. We believe karma, but not really sure what are they. So that's called obscurations of karma to see. Mental afflictions, we have that. We have our mind is occupied, just mental afflictions, Look at the mind, not outside. We don't know everything. It's obscurations for the wisdom, knowledge. We don't know everything. So we need to purify those step by step. That's called abandonment. And realization. There's 2 types of realization. Realization, wisdom, knowing as it is, and knowing everything. See? So there are steps that when you are convinced everything is nothing but emptiness, samsara and nirvana together, wisdom of the knowing as it is. As we still believe, everything's empty, but we are not directly exposed to that, not directly achieve that. Then forget that knowing everything. So when you go through these practices, you get these experiences, glimpse, but should not satisfy. Just follow, step by step. Then, when you have some experiences, they're saying, do not brag about them. So, I have got such a good dream, In my dream, I dream flying in the sky, In my dream, I visited such different places, Or in my shamatha meditation, I have got these experiences. Don't expose on those things. So do not brag about them to others, to showing others. But others. But conceal means keep quiet. Don't expose. Don't let your ego become bigger. Reduce your ego, attachment. Conceal them deep within instead. Instead of proclaiming, just keep quiet, hidden, meditate, continue progress. Then with this for individual oneself, my own practice. Even in those whose virtues are less than yours, even those who are little less than yours, means they are little inferior than yours. You know your practices. No, not bad, I realize not so bad, it's okay, So those who achieve inequalities, respect. Instead of just putting them down, or they have nothing, oh, this is mine is much better, virtues are less than yours. To cultivate rejoicing, rejoice anybody who has. Like say, who have graduated PhD, and those in the college students, the PhD is higher, Even those who are college, oh, you are so good, wonderful. I admire like this kind of thing. Instead of saying I'm PhD, still you are not there, So looking down on them. So that doesn't do any good. Instead, if you rejoice, appreciate, you are doing so good, wonderful. Promote. See, that's one. To cultivate rejoicing in them is my heartfelt advice. So that way, everybody will appreciate. Everybody will follow. Otherwise, you are alienating others, So I'm the better than anybody else. Then people think he's so arrogant. This still, in this world, still we can do these things, It's not something cultural. It's something required in the society. Not only in the Dharma world, but in our daily life. We need these things. And 32, now giving final advices for the practitioners. Whereas a Dharma practitioner, Mahamudra practitioner, 6 Yogas Narupa practitioner, high deity practitioners, anybody who do not allow the love for all beings to fade away. Always keep the loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta in your heart to everybody. That's what Buddha taught. Buddha attained Buddhahood. Then Buddha, he was not going around. So I am Buddha. Now you are nobody. Not looking down anybody. Just to fade away, abandon self-pride, self-praise, and do not expose the faults of others, to maintain an equanimity that does not grasp at anything, but it transcends the intellectual and completely spacious is my heartfelt advice. This relation to this story, which I repeat all the time, everywhere. I'm sure I have repeated here many times. For one time, it's popular everywhere. That picture, it's everywhere. A young mother who lost her child, died, and she could not accept the death of her child. She was thinking there must be a way to bring back the life. So at that time, Buddha is new in India, in the religion, just new teacher. But there are so many other teachers, So she went to all those teachers requesting to bring back the life of her child. Nobody could succeed or help her. Then finally she heard this new teacher called Buddha, who also has some kind of special ability. Maybe Buddha can help you. So she went there, bringing her child, dead body. So then when she met Buddha, she cried. And then she told all her agony of losing the child. For days, I have no food, eating food, no sleep. Please help me. Then Buddha saw the child is dead, past and gone, but she needs the most help. But now she's suffering so much. So as then Buddha skillfully what did? Buddha said, now you go in this small village. Ask any house if you can find a handful of grain, rice, or mustard seed, where nobody died, we can do something. As soon as when she heard that, she was so excited. There must be a house that nobody died. Then she went around. At that time, there's no hospital. People born in their own house and died in their own house. So she couldn't find any house that nobody died. So after some time that she felt really light. Oh, it's not just only my child died. Everyone dies, young or old, middle age. So I have no choice to accept. But anyhow, she went back to Buddha, said, I haven't found any house, there's no one is dead. Then Buddha said, you see, even I bring your child's life today, but one day he will die. You must understand. You must accept. So she told Buddha talked all what she needs. Then she was totally so grateful. Her heart is healed, open. She was so grateful to Buddha. And then followed the practice. It's called giving the loving kindness, compassion, giving the wisdom, giving the fearlessness. That's also the same with all Dharma practitioners. Whatever you're practicing, Mahamudra, 6 years, Narupa, high steady yogas, instead of pointing around, so I'm practicing very high Vajrayana practice, instead of saying those things, just touch the ground, being a basic, be helpful to everybody. So Milarepa also you did. He going around when he was enlightened, when he was in the 70s, then he's asking, can I have today lunch from here, breakfast from here? And he was giving teaching, There's a lot. You read his 100,000 songs, you can find there. So that's what is here saying. Buddha's teaching is just only to reduce the suffering of ourselves and others. How to accept, you see. Otherwise, Buddha could, at that time, Buddha shows the miracle power, it's a miracle power, bring back the life of the child. Look at your child, is here alive, But we cannot help. We have no ability to do that, So Buddha is showing us how we can do. See. We're so kind of somebody shows miracle power, did that. We're so obsessed with that. Oh, wonderful, but we cannot do. But Buddha was showing the example, what we can do, how we can follow. Milarepa's life story also, some individual, when they needed, Milarepa showed the miracle power, like Rejungpa, those who needed, But Milarepa never showed miracle powers, those everybody, At that time, two scholars, two logicians, scholars, they came in the big gathering, So Milarepa and his disciples, not so neat, not so clean, And Milarepa was wearing very dirty clothes, And they think this is disgusting in the Buddha's teaching, Until we get rid of him, our Dharma practice is not so good, So they throw a dust on Milarepa's face, At that time, Milarepa can show miracle powers, Why you are doing these things? But except, instead he said, now you can see Dharma practice, who really does the practice, who never does, And Rejungpa was very furious. How they can dare do this to my teacher, Milarepa said, calm down, relax, This is how we demonstrate Dharma practice. Everybody that follow like this kind of. So these are very precious teaching, So never give up any sentient beings from your heart, especially Mahayana practitioner, Vajrayana practitioner. Bodhicitta is our heart. Bodhicitta is consummate path for the enlightenment, for the Buddhahood. So don't praise yourself. Praise others, the practitioners. And don't dig others' mistake, but dig your own mistake. Saying, abandon self-praise and do not expose the faults of others. To maintain in equanimity, so we all are same. We all desire for peace and happiness. We are same. We all want to free from suffering. We are same. We all have the Buddha nature. We are same, that transcends the intellect and completely spacious is my heartfelt. Then next is that, the verse 33. Without fixated attachment towards all those things essential to your livelihood. Means don't attach so much about your possession, whatever you possessed. Consider them as merely only on loan for this life, like we borrow. I think, where I live, this is my cup, this is my bed, I earn it, I worked hard, this something like totally we are grasping on that. So don't do this. It's all like a loan, borrowed. The day when we leave, we have to leave everything behind. What that does, it reduces the suffering. At the time of death, if we're grasping so much, yes, I have that, there is something that I have, there is something I have, that there is something I have. Now why should I do all those things, We're grasping on this. If I meditate this all just alone, I borrowed, now I leave behind. It eases our heart. It frees our mind from the grasping. See? Make sense? So these are very important practice. Don't treat them as high. These are not so high teaching, but they are very high teaching, very profound. We're practicing Mahamudra. Why? To get rid of this all grasping. So their support, these practices, they support us for our meditation. Korban, Mose, so this means consider them as merely only on loan for this life, to see subject, wealth, retinue. If the teacher, there's many disciples, retinue, disciples, families, and even your own party as impermanent and basically pointless, grasping on that. It's my heartfelt advice. This doesn't mean don't help others. You can help your family. All what you can. Do all the best what you can to help them. But grasping them is only brings suffering. Sometimes there are cases, like mother, who attach her children, and the child is not behaving well. And she wants her child really the best, best education, best discipline, praise in the society. my child is best. But when the child is not doing enough, then a lot of pain in her heart. You see, why should I do? No, and then she cries. So those times, give the advice to the mother. You raise your child whatever you can. To all the support what you can give. But don't expect the child will do as you wanted. Your responsibility is to do all what you can. Then rest is the child's responsibility. So when you have that, you say things, what is needed. This is good for you. I'm giving you the advice, do this. Now it's up to you, whether you want to do or not. And then just leave alone. And you feel so good. You did everything what you can. The child also, after some time, and because she's not chasing you so much, saying every day, if you say every day, then the child is so tired. No, I don't want to stay here. I want to go somewhere else. No. But instead, just leave child alone. Then child understand. Possible, understand, come back. My mother was so kind. She does everything what she can. And then he or she remembers all the kindness, all the good deeds, and the relation becomes so good. So this is what is saying here now. The teachers, in the monastery, the teacher really want his or her students or the monks, nuns, very good education, successful. When they don't behave well, the teacher is so upset, suffering, I worked so hard. I was begging all the sponsors to give, food, clothes, place to live. For how many years I've done. Even my health is deteriorated because of that, And then the disciples, they don't behave well, suffering so much. But you provide whatever you can. Give them all the good advice, good teachings, and definitely the student will grow well. We know we should have that kind of skill, method, how to relate. So what is here saying is, from your side, you do all what you can. Sincerely. That's up to them. You cannot kind of push them. Then the situation goes worse instead of getting better. So you're saying, as impermanent, everything is impermanent. Nothing stays that way. So impermanent says here, to see subjects well retinue, even your own body as impermanent and basically pointless attachment to this. So this is my heartfelt advice. Okay, what time? Time is running. Now this also, verse 34, quickly confess, restrain whatever strains, obscurations you have accrued or created due to heedlessness. And whatever virtue you have performed should be widely spread through dedication. To diligently do this day and night is my heartfelt advice. Briefly, just what my body, speech, mind, whatever negative karma that I created, whatever obscurations that I have in my mind, purify. Always purify. They are nothing but only cause of suffering. They should not stay with me even 1 minute. Just be heedful on this and purify. All the virtuous deeds, whatever you've done, helping others, rejoice, dedicate by this small virtue that I have created may become a cause everybody to achieve enlightenment with the whole. So these are such a precious advice. So what he is saying is never stay with the non-virtue. Never stay with the negative karma. Always purify. Just remind in the morning when you get up, say today I will do all the best what I can, practicing bodhicitta, so forth. Then in the evening, reflect what your day was. If everything goes well, dedicate all the virtues for the enlightenment. If anything can become a cause of suffering, negative karma, purify there. Don't stay with the negative. Now here, Dhammakit is now briefing, he has said. In summaries, in brief, whatever you do in this life, do not intentionally deceive or be hypocritical toward others. Do not make the triple gem Buddha Dhamma Sangha be displeased with you or shame of you. To engage in completely restraining yourself is my heartfelt advice. Be trustworthy. Sincere means look at the virtue, follow all the virtuous path, meditation, look at all the non-virtue, free from this, and practice on the base of bodhicitta and practice of Mahamudra. And this will help us to free from samsara and achieve the enlightenment. And through this, we can benefit Buddha's teaching to prolong in the world. So we all have the responsibility. As yesterday I mentioned, to prolong the Dhamma teachings, not just only monks and nuns. Everyone, those who are interested in Dhamma teaching, have the same responsibility. We have to support each other. We're here to support. In order to support, we have to be sincere each other. We should understand everyone has a limitation until they become Buddha. So we accept their limitation and we support to grow ourselves. This is what is very important point. And what is next? They said, so yeah, completely restrain yourself is my heart, I feel advanced. Now, these then are my 35 pieces of heartfelt advice. They are neither meant for exposing the faults of others, nor for looking down on them. They do lack all types of deception and ways of fooling people. I have written this down in response to Ngari Chunzema. It looks like she is such a great Dharma practitioner. No. So Namakit is saying here, I wrote this, this 35 verses, but it's not to bring up the faults of others or to criticize others, out of jealous, out of insincere. But this I wrote sincerely as requested by this Ngari Chunzema, a great Dharma practitioner, asked me to write. So I wrote this as a sincere advice for the Dharma practitioner, so that we know how our practice is going through, how we are developing, without any declining, step by step, because we as ordinary, we may face a lot of difficult, a lot of obstacles. So when we face these difficulties, then we know how to face, how to dispel the obstacles, and then go through step by step for the enlightenment, Buddhahood. This text, which I Dikungba Sheki Takba, Dikung Chungzang, Dharma Kipte, Sheki Takba is Dharma Kipte, hastily composed without hypocrisy. Hastily means he wrote very quickly. He was such a great writer. He wrote in 5 minutes. But anyway, he wrote so fast, within I'm sure this wrote within, of course, in a couple of hours, So now we can study this for days, months. All this is so condensed, you see, so much condensed. Plus, you can study all about the mental afflictions that he described, Then all this refuge, how much, I didn't talk about so much about the refuge, just basic. The Milarepa said, Buddha Dhamma Sangha are the outer refuge. Guru, Yedam, Dakinis are inner refuge. Chakra, channel, pranas, the secret refuge. Appearance and emptiness, inseparable, is ultimate refuge. So we can talk so much about those. So then again, back, in the Vinaya, all about those things. And we didn't also talk so much about the impermanence. Just brief, and suffering of samsara. I just mentioned, just listed suffering of change, pervasive suffering. But we can talk about what are they. Then causality, look at the 10 non-virtues. Oh, the step by step each, and 10 virtues, what are they? And then we can talk more about loving kindness, compassion, and then bodhicitta. What's the foundation of bodhicitta? What's the cause of bodhicitta? All this, how to cultivate bodhicitta, and how much benefit is there? So much to talk about. But you see, I just describe briefly as is written here in these 2 days, So he said, the based on my personal practice that I value and hold dear. These practices he holds dear in his heart, that given to us with heart advice. May it further virtue and goodness. They may that grow higher and higher, further until we achieve enlightenment. Then last he said, those who desire liberation, Dharma practitioners who sincerely practice and better themselves should rely on these teachings. So you can rely on this. But if you aspire to become chief of the assembly in the hell realms, then these pieces of the heartfelt advice will turn into wounds and poison when it hits your ego. It hurts your ego. It hurts your attachment. You want to be famous, and this you'll become one famous. It will destroy that. You want to be rich, and it will destroy your resource. It's like poison. So we started from here. We can Ningdam Song up a shit or Chuso. I will son you combat touching. I am told up there, Kurnam. You can tell it one more. Doji Chang, Lama, do. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, indeed, great 2 days, precious teaching by Rinpoche, with the presence of lamas. How about a big round of applause for Rinpoche? Ladies and gentlemen, for this precious teaching that we have benefited, to practice with great body, chitta, heart, one can be liberated. All right, we have come to the questions and answers session now. We have 6 questions that we have paid. First question, Rinpoche. How do we apply and integrate these 35 advices into our daily lives? Should we recite this text every day to remind ourselves about its essence and importance?
That's a very good idea. Recite in the morning, get a glimpse of those meaning in your heart. And then you still look at the shortcoming in your mind, purify those, and refresh your practice.
Very well said. Simplify. Question number 2 is what's the main difference between Mahamudra and Dzogchen? Are they same or different?
This depends, I should say, as a mode of abiding nature, how everything functions in the nature of the Panjana Paramita, reality nature. In that, there's no difference. When you know one Mahamudra, then you know Mahamudra Dzogchen all Mathemika. Okay. In regard to that, there's no difference. But then depends on the individual teacher. Some will say Dzogchen is higher than Mahamudra. It's his view. Okay. They not necessarily Dzogchen is higher. Or Mahamudra say, Mahamudra is higher than that. No. So it's individuals. To second point is individuals, different individuals contribute how they contribute to how they explain. Okay. Yeah. in reality, it's not, like say Buddha. All the 1,000 Buddha, 100,000 Buddha, Buddha is Buddha. There's no one Buddha is higher than others. So Buddha realized the ultimate. See, so from that point of view, there's no difference.
So depending on whether you which practice you're doing, the Mahamudra and Dzogchen, Rinpoche say there's no difference.
No difference. Only way to get rid of your ego.
But if you are not clear with Mahamudra and Dzogchen, first you must go for ego cleansing. Okay, question number 3. Rinpoche, you mentioned that in order to benefit sentient beings, we need to know many different methods and perform different activities. On the other hand, many masters advise it is better that we focus our effort and attention on one practice.
No, just mentioned here. This is a very important point. Here, verse 13. If you don't have Mahamudra where knowing one liberates all, but are satisfied with this, with titles such as Master of 10 Texts and Polymath, met at the time of death like a snake cast. Is that right? Yes, that's one. Yes. So if you know one, then you know everything. As I explained, you know. So first of all, we should understand this as an easier way. When you have bodhicitta, see, when you have the aspiration bodhicitta, action bodhicitta, then you are practicing all Buddha's teaching there. You can benefit from there, you know, with a skillful way. When you are lacking the bodhicitta, then you are not well enough to benefit sentient beings. So focus on what I said, focus on the bodhicitta. So that bodhicitta is the consummate path towards the enlightenment, Buddhahood, and to benefit all sentient beings.
So in summary, it's to practice bodhicitta, like what Rinpoche said just now before we start after lunch, is to have bodhicitta motivation in all of us, in our practice, in the morning practice, in our continued afternoon practice. It's where one can actually do one practice and complete it all, even though you are a beginner as well. Question number 4, what is the 3 vows? What is 3 vows?
3 vows, the vow of Vinaya, and the vow of the Bodhisattva, and the vow of the Vajrayana. So these are 3 vows. There are ceremonies to take those vows. Just step by step basis, you know.
Next question is, when afflictive emotions arise, how do we meditate on them practically?
When afflictive emotion arise, don't meditate on them. Instead, how to meditate, how to get rid of them.
Okay, the next question,
Okay.
Rikung Dhammakitri gave advice on how to meditate from verse 19 to verse 26 in this text.
Page 19.
Verse 19 to verse 26.
26, okay.
As a beginner, I can intellectually understand, but it still feels very overwhelming to do all these.
Yes.
Can Rinpoche advise how to train my mind to train according to these verses in a very systemic and gradual manner?
So what I advise, if you are not so well versed on these teachings, first contemplate the four foundations. Very important. If you are desire to free from samsara, you desire to attain Buddhahood. So look at the great potential qualities that precious human life has. Then to utilize this, not wasting this potential of the human life, contemplate on the impermanence. Impermanence is very momentary. So there's contemplation on the impermanence, like say, there's gross impermanence, subtle impermanence, very subtle impermanence. When you look at those steps, then you see how it's like urgent. I have to use this precious human life in the best way, Otherwise, I'm wasting my the great opportunity that I have. Then look at the suffering of samsara, myself and others. How much suffering is there? Everyone is, desperate to free from that kind of suffering. So the Dharma is the only method to be from that state. So how Dharma is precious, how suffering is nature of suffering, how the samsara is nature of suffering. And the causality, as mentioned, the inexorable, the cause, the end result, how they play. When you have the wisdom, it's not just a Buddhist belief, but whole universe now play within that, depending on the different cause, different experiences there. So we should have a wisdom, what to choose, the cause of peace and happiness, what to free from the cause of suffering. So this precious human life has that kind of capacity to capture that. So then you see, there comes the understanding of taking refuge, how urgent, how important is to take refuge the Buddha Dharma Sangha, without which there's no gate to free from samsara. So then you just say, I have to take refuge because I don't know. Buddha taught all this teaching. Dharma is the path. I have to follow. So when you say prayers, offering prayer, what do you say? Tomba Lame Sanje Rinpoche. Say that. Tomba Lame, Tomba means teacher. Lana Meba, unparalleled. Supreme. Tomba Lame. Tomba Lame, the unparalleled, as a supreme teacher. Who is that? Sangye Rinpoche, the precious Buddha. The Buddha is the supreme teacher. As yesterday we went through short, So look at that. Nobody can teach us to achieve Buddhahood. Only Buddha. So Buddha is a supreme teacher. Kyoba Lame Tamju Rinpoche. Kyoba, protector. The unparalleled, supreme protector is the Dharma, the precious Dharma. That one means Dharma, when we study, practice the Dharma, then see, that protect us. Now, when you are so depressed, at that time, you cultivate bodhicitta. Just example. And it relieves your depression. all sentient beings decide, I wish everyone to attain Buddhahood, so that protects from your death, suffering, fear, emptiness, wisdom that you study, practice, makes you free from all the fears. That's the Dharma. So all this Dharma that you study, Dharma that you realize, Dharma that you have achieved, is the supreme protector. At the end, Buddha, you see, what is the ultimate Buddha? Ultimate Buddha is Dharmakaya. See, Shakyamuni is Nirmanakaya. All those, the deities are Sabokaya. Ultimate Dharma is Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya means embodiment of Dharma. So in the Uttara Tantra mentioned, you see, for the ultimate refuge for the sentient being is the sage Buddha. Buddha is the Buddha. Buddha is the embodiment of Dharma. And the ultimate Sangha means the Sangha who practices Dharma attains the Buddhahood. So Buddha is the ultimate Sangha. So at the end, Buddha is the embodiment of Buddha, Dharma, Sangha that we take refuge, you see. So that's our protector. See, that's why refuge is so important. Important at the beginning to open the door, important at the middle to practice, follow, and important at the end you to become Buddha. See? Then on the basis of that, then all down back to special bodhicitta. So these are focus you need. Once you have prepared those, then all the rest from verse 19 to 26 is still Dharma. Okay.
Wow, so profoundly explained. Sambhogakaya, Buddhakaya, and Nirmanakaya.
Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya,
Sambhogakaya,
Dharmakaya.
Dharmakaya. Okay, this last question is a bit long.
Yeah, okay.
As this I is formed by these 5 aggregates, from what I understood, there are these 2 entities. Entity 1, the body, sensing the outside world with 5 senses. Entity 2, complex mind, the feelings, sense of organs, perception, experience in habitual and interconnection. Lastly, mental formation, karmic action is formed, consciousness. Now, if the flow of message information could be detected at the feeling stage, that means we can avoid the habitual and karmic action. Is this possible, Rinpoche? What is the uniqueness of Vajrayana practice in helping us overcoming our habitual behavior?
First, as you mentioned here, you mentioned there all these things, basically 5 skandha, you mentioned there, the form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. These 5 aggregates forms the aggregate. No, this, if one is absent, there's no 5. There's no aggregates. No. Let's see, to make a cup of tea, you need tea, you need water, you need stove, you need fire, you need a pot. All this. Then if you want to put some sugar, you need sugar. If you want to put some milk, you need milk, But they are your choice. But all others, if one is missing, you cannot make a cup of tea. You see. So like this, the 5 aggregates need all these 5 aggregates. If one is missing, then there's no 5 aggregates, So that's as that person mentioned, Now that is everybody, not as a Buddhist, not as a practitioner, or not anything, but everyone has these 5 aggregates. No? How to this, without realizing these 5 aggregates, this is a composite of all coming many causes, conditions put together. We don't realize that as an ordinary person, I, a unique, a permanent. This I come from yesterday, this morning, now here, something unique, permanent. So it becomes the center of all the suffering, cause of suffering. That it wanders, we wander in the samsara because of these 5 aggregates. Because with these 5 aggregates, we have this body, then we age, we suffer. We get sick, we suffer. Finally, we die, we suffer. We don't get what we want. We get what we don't want, They see all these things surrounded in this 5 aggregates. That's called the 5 aggregates, the center of the samsara. Then on the other hand, when you study these Buddha's teachings, then you know the 5 aggregates. Now you see they are impermanent. They are not one. There are many. Oh, so many things come together. Illusory nature. No, all this just a manifestation, you see. Where does come from? Come from nowhere. Where they exist nowhere. Where they go nowhere. It's all just manifestation. Now, with that understanding, you lost of your attachment to ego. So the beginning of your life now becoming better. So now you see, there's nothing to attach to this. And we walk for. Now look, this is how fast you look yourself. There you look rest of the all sentient beings. We share the same thing, no difference. But they don't know about this. And I know. So I develop, from that wisdom, I develop compassion, develop bodhicitta. My enlightenment is not just for me. My enlightenment is enlightenment for every sentient beings. Cultivate bodhicitta. You see, this is the foundation first of all. It shares by sutra system, Vajrayana system, we need this. Without this foundation, there's no Vajrayana can start. Now, Tantra, as you mentioned, how Tantra becomes what you said that.
How can Vajrayana practice in
Yes.
helping us overcoming our
How
habitual?
you see, now you see, look that. Yesterday, I explained very detailed about that. You see, we need an authentic spiritual master who knows how to perform these teachings, how they constitute Vajrayana in this, you see. This very nature of this basic foundation of the suffering. On that basis, but your mind is deliberate to free from this state of suffering. No, I want to free from suffering. What should I do? I'm yearning for this. I'm longing free from this, Then that Vajra master who has such great skill, wisdom, compassion, then explains through the empowerment. As I mentioned, ripening, liberating. So during the ripening, means one in Tibetan, one, which ripens is the empowerment. So introduces these 5 skandha as the Buddha, the 5 Buddhas, the 5 afflictions introduces and the 5 wisdom. So then this you introduce this through the ceremony, this Vajrayana. Okay. So Vajrayana is a method to liberate from this confusion towards enlightenment. That's why Vajrayana is so important. There you get all this method, wisdom. And then for liberation, the teacher explains and you practice.
Again, very detailedly explained, right? So I hope the person who asked that questions get your answers from Rinpoche. We have a bit more time for one more question, Rinpoche. How can one purify negative karma?
How to purify? This is all the way I was talking about.
Yeah, if you have been paying attention to these 2 days teaching, it's all about practice and how to purify our negative karma and become good practitioner. Practice bodhicitta heart. It's how you can purify your karma. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great teaching, precious teaching. On behalf of the Ratnasri Buddha Society, thank you very much, Rinpoche, and to all the three lamas and to all the committee for having this precious teaching conducted straight 2 days. I know time is never enough, but we are ending our 2-day session here. With this, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, people on the Zoom from all over the world who have attended the 2 days teaching session of the 35 verses heart action. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you soon. And do practice like what Rinpoche say with Vajrayana, bodhicitta in mind. You get to be free from suffering and liberated. Thank you so much. On behalf of Ratnasri Buddhist Society, thank you very much.